for the connect. Hello.
Hello.
Oh my God, the mic works. How are you doing?
This is so weird. I've got the stream and myself in my ears.
Yeah. I would suggest muting it.
Yeah, I'm
uh,
straight
I
stream.
I think it's normally that happens to like 20% of the people who call or that
Yeah.
are in the call. They're like, oh yeah, so how do I do this?
Yeah, no, it's okay. You can hear me okay?
Yeah. No, you sound great, and the stream looks
Brilliant.
like it's all the volume is good. So we'll start off.
Fantastic.
Would you like to introduce yourself and just talk a little bit about like how you got into 3D and what you're doing
Sure
these
thing.
days?
Yeah, sounds good. Um, I'm George. Currently a third year student at Norwich University of the Arts studying game art and design. Um, I got into games and 3D about 5 years ago in college. Um, And last year, I took a year out of uni to go and work in the industry as an environment artist. So I worked for a year on a cool AAA game, and then I'm back now in my third year finishing my degree. Uh, and then I'm going to go back into the industry hopefully when I graduate.
Thanks. So you already got some experience then.
Yeah, just a little bit, just about a year.
A year's old, you learn a lot in a year,
Oh,
especially if you're in
yeah,
AAA.
100%. Like all my portfolio when I applied then, they were obviously I was fortunate enough to be taken on.
Mm,
Back then in my second year of uni, but all of this work is from the the year in industry onwards. So this is only in the last year. I've taken off all the other old stuff because it just doesn't represent my work right now.
right, dude. That's so you've been super active then.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, I think I've been a bit more on the ball over the past obviously been doing it for 5 years, but much more on the ball over the past two 2 years or so.
Nice, nice. Okay, so dude, that's crazy. I can imagine like that year kind of like flew by.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, especially with COVID and stuff and jumping around on a few different games. But once getting settled on one game for a while, getting in that groove, it just flew by. And now I'm back at uni and now almost finished my degree so quickly. It's just gone by.
What's the degree that you're going for?
Um, a BA in games art and design.
Dang, crazy. Okay. So so it says 3D artist on your portfolio. Is there anything in particular that you're kind of pointing towards?
So I quite like texturing. Texturing is the thing that I think I've enjoyed the most out of all the workflows. So if I had to kind of pick anything, I have really been debating whether to go into the VFX and film industry as a texture artist. Um, I've had a couple offers to go back into games, and I've been really fortunate to receive those as environment artist.
Mm,
So if I do go back into games, I would go back as more of an environment art to do kind of a bit of everything.
right.
But I've really been considering VFX and texture art.
Nice. Actually, it's interesting you talk about VFX because, like, at least from what I've noticed and experienced um, since since I got into games, is like the VFX in the games industry is like a really small community,
Mm.
and largely speaking, I would say most studios are fighting for those VFX artists.
Yeah,
And a lot of them are on Call of Duty, strangely enough. I think they have the biggest
yeah.
VFX team in the whole industry.
Wow, yeah. That would make sense though.
Yeah, yeah, they're always doing it's like a movie, right? It's always explosions
Right.
and
Exactly. Yeah.
crazy
So
amounts
many
of
cinematics.
custom cinematics that are happening real time.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool. Okay, let's I guess we can go through what's in your portfolio right now.
Sure thing.
We can just start from like I don't know if they're in a specific order.
It's just from what my favorite to least favorite, or kind
Right.
of yeah, or kind of most current work to least current, from left to right. So left being most current,
Right. Okay. Yeah,
and
so
this
it's
being
pretty standard.
oldest.
So this is like your oldest one. So this is last year. I guess this is maybe after you finished your
This is
hiatus in the industry?
whilst I was working.
Oh, okay, yeah,
So I did this on the side. So I'd do this on weekends or after 5 p.m. I would I'd work on this project. It's just a concept of a robot that I kind of thought of,
yeah,
and then it kind of I was thinking about the project, doing the project for quite a while, and then I found some time over kind of near November, December time when I was in the industry. So I just thought I'd do it alongside, and then I ended up entering it a couple months ago into a rookies competition for a cute robot, and
nice,
yeah, I ended up coming top six, which I'm very happy about.
dude, cool. Yeah, I'm just scrolling through all this. You can tell that you're really focusing on your like trying to push the
Mm.
material side of it.
Yeah, I think
Mm,
these were kind of the early days of discovering kind of what roughness, did, and using different kind of maps, and it's over exaggerated in areas, but it's it's kind of the start of my, I think, interest in texturing, definitely.
right. Yeah, because it looks like there's maybe like a normal map layer
Hmm.
that you started to push through
Hmm.
in your at least in the paint layer.
Yeah, yeah, like layers of paint on top.
Dang, this is super high res too. I guess that would explain the. This is
Yeah,
4K maps.
yeah,
You're
three,
not
four
messing
K.
around, man.
No, yeah, it's before I was using UDIMs, just so they
Oh,
were all
okay.
separate textures.
But so it looks like the goal from what you're saying here was to just like practice world building
Yeah,
and
yeah,
just have
yeah.
like a character that you're is the I guess is the environment all from like mega scans and stuff or like how
Yeah,
did you okay.
so all of the environment is Megascans, bar a few custom assets that I had to make,
Mm,
just to do the kind of set dressing the way I wanted it to.
right.
So there's in the three different scenes. I think in the first scene there's no, uh, it's all Megascans in the background. Second scene there's a couple, like a lamppost and um, yeah, I think in the second scene, the one above it, the nighttime render.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, there's like a little post
Yeah, that
or a
lamppost
crosswalk.
and kind of diversion sign to kind of look
Mm,
at, and then divert your eyes back over to the robot in
right.
a in an ironic way, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, cuz no one would be looking at a robot sitting there like
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
sidewalk. Did you make the I guess you made the little toy as well.
No, that scans as well.
Really?
Yeah, they've got a little yeah, I definitely like, I start to recognize scenes that have those like bollards in the background, and the when the scenes that use toys and stuff, and there's
Yeah.
certain bricks, they're just really recognizable as Megascan stuff to me now. So,
Yeah, you get that I mean I've noticed it in films now as well.
oh yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Though we'll get better at hiding that, I think, as like
yeah, I'm sure.
as people start to use those libraries more so. But I mean,
Mm,
so from this scene, this is a year ago, but you're just like trying to like push your like world building, but then at the same time,
yeah,
just make a engaging character that you could
yeah,
texture.
yeah, like
Mm,
robot design and character design. So it's obviously an original concept, as well as like developing its the way it moves and the way it works. I never unfortunately got to animate it, which I think would have been quite difficult, but
yeah, that looks like it might
it
be
would it
painful.
it would have been quite interesting to figure out the way it moves.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
think.
some of those have to be taken into account for design wise.
Mm, I was gonna say, I think the thing that sticks out to me the most, because I know that this is a year ago, right? And you were just starting to
Hmm.
get deeper into like texture work, but I think
Yeah.
design wise, the thing that sticks out to me is how the curve of the head is.
Hmm.
Like, there's like a high point here, where
Yeah.
usually you'll have like in industrial design, you tend to have like a pretty smooth curve,
Hmm.
and it kind of like it feels like there's a bit of tension at this point. And I mean,
Yeah.
maybe that's
They,
by design, but yeah.
yeah. I think it's just I had this image in my head, this drawing, and I just really roughly sketched it out, and I guess this is the closest I could trying to
Mm,
attempt to this idea that I had in my head.
yeah. No, it's still it's really cool. And we shouldn't judge it too much. I mean, it was a year ago. It sounds like you've been kind of busy, which is kind
Yeah,
of
of course.
pushing
Yeah,
through
obviously
stuff.
working and then just doing separate projects.
So the next one is the Seeker Droid, and it looks like the
Yeah,
main focus of this was texturing.
yeah, yeah. So there was a guy on LinkedIn, a modeling student on LinkedIn that I saw that he was looking for someone to texture his droid. So I just reached out to him and asked him if, he would like me to, and I sent him some of my work and yeah, he sent me the model and I textured it and we kind of almost like a collaborative effort there.
That's a
Both he
great
did
way. Yeah, that's a great
the
way of
modeling
doing
and I
that.
did texturing.
Yeah, because if you're just wanting to focus on materials, it's
Hmm.
it's that's a really good way of just having something, I guess, relevant that you would find interesting, but then at the same time, just being able to focus on the texturing phase of it.
Yeah, that was really nice for me. I mean, it was only kind of a 3 or 4 day project to texture this, but because I was doing another uni project at the same time.
Mm.
But it was really nice to kind of have a break from the longer project with just solely texturing, not have to worry about modeling, UVing, anything like that.
Oh, it was even UV'd as well.
He UV'd it. I had to put it into even more UDIMs just for like higher texel density,
Yeah,
but like it was all UV'd pretty much. So
I see. There's some like surface warping as well. Were you doing that with
yeah,
like just projection or?
so just using like a noise a
Oh,
noise
interesting. Yeah.
generator. So I'd use I think I used a creases soft in Substance Painter and then kind of stretched out so it wasn't so like a stretched crease. It was more of a circular crease,
Mm,
which made warping, and then just painted on the warping, the metal warping in the places that I wanted it.
right. That's a really nice way of doing it because when you paint a mask to hide the warping, because
Hmm.
you can like really make the brush soft, you can make
Hmm.
the warps like naturally transition out to like not
Yeah,
warping.
yeah. So just using generators and masking on top of those, it was really easy to get the look I kind of wanted.
Was there anything that you didn't like about this, or like that you wished or couldn't figure out how to push further? I mean, this was only 4 months ago. It's not too long ago.
Yeah, I if I spent more time on it, it would definitely just get better and better. It was only about 20 hours I spent on it, but if I were to spend more time on it, a lot of the metalware on the legs is very generic.
Mm,
It's not too specific or there's not too much storytelling in it. I kind of didn't spend too much time on the paint chipping and peeling,
right.
just enough for it to look passable, but not really meaningful.
Right. Yeah, it looks like I mean a lot of the stuff you were probably trying to push like fidelity wise was in the upper part of
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
droid.
Yeah, definitely. And I wish I did a bit more paneling as well. Like on the back, there's a couple kind of normal mapped panels that I've put on. I mean, you can see like the
I don't know which
um,
image we would be looking at. Maybe this one. Where are we at here?
like because you can see the model without any textures on. All of the
Oh, right.
panels are obviously driven through. They're all driven through the texturing.
Right.
So the panels on the yellow bit and the panels on the metal. Um, Maybe a bit more attention to detail in some of those edge wear areas. They look a bit too,
Yeah,
I don't know, generic maybe.
it's whenever like you get like a soft gradient of wear that it starts to feel like, oh, what? How is this? You know, like how is
Mm,
this happening? Or the type of wear and tear
hmm.
or like dirt or grunge buildup,
Yeah,
like depending on how they're painted on or how they're
yeah,
presented, can feel like it's either been placed or it was for a set versus like actually aging over time. Not saying that I'm seeing that a lot in here, but there
yeah,
are
yeah,
just a few spots that I noticed that.
yeah. I definitely I heavily referenced the concept art from the game. I think I might have linked it in the description. But in terms of where the wear was and yeah, where the peeling was, I
Mm,
just pretty much referenced what the concept artist
yeah,
had a
this
vision for.
It is really nice on the like the lower. Maybe I should look at that. Let's see here. Oh yeah. I mean, especially when you see the. So I
Yeah,
think
it's like
the wear and tear is a little bit. Maybe yours is a bit more,
hmm
or maybe
a
like
little bit
the
more
dirt, like
dirty.
grunginess.
Yeah, much more grungy.
Yeah, a lot of that
Yeah.
stuff you push into your roughness
hmm
to push those types of details, and then the at least the ones that I'm seeing in the concepts, those ones are like there's less of them. So if you went
hmm
with this ratio, but then in your roughness, you were pushing the a similar amount that you
Yeah.
have on yours. I think
Yeah.
that it would probably read a little bit more
It
natural.
would read better. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's really cool though. Man,
Yeah.
that's a nice opportunity to just be able to texture.
Yeah. It was good. Yeah. It was just like no other responsibilities. Just do what you love, kind of thing.
Mm. Yeah, and you said 20 hours as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't want to spend too long because I had the car project on at the same time.
How are you doing the leaks? Is it like a mask or like
It's stencil
stencil?
like using like a alpha masks and making some of my own ones if the one but
Oh, nice.
I think the ones in Painter sufficed but I yeah
Yeah,
I wouldn't
the
definitely wouldn't be opposed to going on like textures.com or something and finding something useful.
yeah, being able to pull from like real life is
hmm
definitely you just can't fake that very
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
or like simulate it. So I think stencils or projected through like
yeah,
alphas is usually the best way to go about it because you just get that
yeah,
fidelity and the naturalness of it.
definitely. Yeah, I think I went overboard on the dirt on the sides, I think, because the modeling had some kind of a harsh line in the middle, so I wanted to kind of
You're trying to
mask that as best
mask
I
it, yeah.
could. And maybe it came off too kind of dirty, but you gotta you win some, you lose some, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the harsh lines usually are being emphasized by like the roughness that it's at. So like if
Mm.
it's really reflective, that line really pops out, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But if you use like instead of using the albedo, if you use the roughness and push the roughness way up, you can mask out those things without having to get the color to go darker.
hmm
Not it's not
Yeah,
bad though. I mean,
that makes sense.
it's really cool looking, and it's nice to see the warp in the normals and have it be
Mm.
as reflective as it is.
Yeah, yeah,
That's super cool.
yeah.
And
Thank you.
then we have the guitar pedal board.
Yeah, the pedal board. Yeah, I did a kind of a short video for this. Just like 30-second little video. I think I did it in 4K as well.
Oh, really? I do
Yeah,
not have a
it's
4K
just
screen, but man, it looks crunchy. And I love the decal work or like the text having like a very
hmm
harsh difference in like roughness. These pedals are like perfect for displaying material types just because there's so many different surfaces, right? You've got like metals
hmm
and plastics
Exactly. Yeah,
and
it was
rubber materials everywhere.
rubber. Yeah,
And
yeah.
then
No, that
where's
was
this shot? This is super
just the
nice.
pink one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just made sure I had a light there in,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
catch that. It's all just placement.
That's a really nice attention to detail.
Thank you.
These also look extremely high res in textures. I don't know,
Yeah,
the
they're
modeling
prob
looks a little low maybe in the cable, but
yeah,
the
yeah,
textures
you're
look like
absolutely
they're
right.
like each pedal's maybe 4K.
Yeah, that is surely at least.
Oh man. Oh wow, and then you have like the wooden. Oh, I guess that would make sense. You have a wooden board
Yes.
on here and then you can just adhere all of them to the board, right?
hmm
And then you don't have to worry about positioning them or placing them. Dude, these are yeah, this is really cool. I think it's really difficult to get the wires to sell just because of
Yeah,
like the spacing of where they're placed between the pedals is can be
yeah,
so even, but then the amount of tension that's required on the cables to be able to fit into those areas ends up
Hmm.
making them feel unnatural. I don't know how to do you want to simulate cables? I don't know if we want to go that hardcore.
Yeah, yeah, it was a bit of a hard one to try and um, like kind of placeholder all of the splines so
Mm.
that they almost looked as natural as I could get them, with tensions building up in certain areas and then them flowing free in others. It was quite hard to balance that.
No, generally though, it looks really cool, and that's like nitpicking, right? Because like
Yeah, of
overall
course,
the
yeah.
materials look really nice.
Thank you.
I think when I so let me just keep scrolling through some of these. They're they're really cool. Man, that pink one is really solid. Like it just reads well.
Thank you.
I think just because like they don't have it's not in a bad way, but they don't have the pink one doesn't really have the noise that the rest do.
Hmm.
So it's really easy to just kind of visually digest it.
Yeah.
I think my feedback on this post would just be like I need to see some. I'm curious how your UVs are set up and how you're texturing these, or what your roughness maps look like, just to because they look pretty good,
Mm.
and it's just a matter of understanding. It's like you can see how people think just by looking at their texture maps.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, no, this one's awesome. Did you make up these brands?
So I worked with some like people on my course or at my uni who took different courses like graphic design, because this was for their kind of zine or magazine
Mm.
a few years ago that they used to do.
So you have a pedal that literally you're just turning up the poop level.
Yeah, I mean, my yeah, my girlfriend did this one
Yeah.
because it was called a ditto looper, but we were doing a spoof on it, and she made this design because she's a graphic designer as well.
That's awesome. I mean, it's pretty spot on. And even the
Yeah,
double O's with the wit with the
yeah,
line under, man, there's a lot of
yeah.
thought that went into this.
Oh yeah, she's real good.
Dude, that's crazy. Yeah, so this one's really cool. I think it's just more of a breakdown to just know.
Yeah, yeah. I'm always scared of putting breakdowns because it's like I don't want people to expose me as a phony, you know.
Oh,
Like I don't want people to see, what's under the hood just in case they don't like what they see, you know.
I mean, I think when you look under the hood, it's really about seeing how they got around something or how they ended up doing something. Like, oh man, it looks so good in the render, and then you look at the roughness and you're like, what? It's so
Mm.
straightforward, but like the amount of detail put into the roughness, or like the
Hmm.
attention to detail and where it shifts in its value,
Yeah,
it's those
definitely.
subtle nuances that I think really sell, or like show off where you're at in your skill level. Because like those
Hmm.
pedals are definitely like above and beyond where you were at with your robot,
Hmm.
like
Yeah,
in material understanding and like PBR values and whatnot.
definitely come a long way since then.
And then we've got this VTech.
Hmm.
It's so funny. I was like every time I critique someone's like car or like look at it, and I'm like, dude, sick. That's about all I can say because I just don't know anything about cars.
That's okay. I mean, I really don't either. I just
Oh man.
got a big interest in them after following people like Ash Thorpe,
Oh yeah,
um,
that'll do it.
and his type of renders, and this kind of inspired me for all those smoky renders. And then when I posted it on my Instagram, he liked and commented on my post as well. So
Oh wow.
it's like it
How,
was really a
yeah.
surreal moment to have him look at my work that is inspired by him. That was awesome.
It's like, oh, okay. So how was the hospital bill? And you're like, what are you talking about? It's like, well, after you read that comment and you saw that you liked it, you
Yeah.
like blacked out.
Oh yeah, man. I didn't even I felt all kinds of feelings right
Yeah.
then. It was it was a real shock.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, so when I look at this vehicle, the first thing that sticks out to me is how cool or interesting the tires are.
Mm,
They're like really pillowy, like
yeah.
puffy. And then,
Yeah, I
yeah.
I like them like that.
Oh, go ahead before I.
Oh no, no, you go.
So the only thing I was just going to mention on it, man, this flow line is sick too. Is the wear around the tire so even? I think that's the
Mm,
only thing that's really sticking out is like, oh, this is like if you were to clean that up and
mm-hmm,
just like tone it down maybe like 30, 40%, because it
mm-hmm,
feels really, it really grabs your attention.
mm.
If you
Yeah,
were to tone
yeah, no,
that
it
in,
definitely does.
then the rest of the vehicle just kind of evens out, which is
Mm.
maybe what you want. And then you can push the emphasis back and forth through roughness, right? So
Yeah,
maybe the I don't know if it's the oh man, what's the term for it? The hubcap or like the side of the tire
yeah, yeah, yeah,
being a different roughness or a little bit more reflective, and then
yeah.
certain elements of the vehicle being quite shiny can really
Mm-hmm.
like push and pull those elements forward and backwards.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think I went. I think I went a little, kind of quite a lot with the edge wear of those hubs because there was just a couple references that I mean I had a gigantic reference board for this car and
Mm,
they were just all different, like there was recreations and ones from the game and um I just kind of tried to find a happy medium and there was
yeah.
a reference for this tire that kind of had that style of peeling it's like two layers of metal or maybe like a alloy underneath and then a painted metal on top.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, so you were
So,
just kind of going for
yeah, I just
that
kind of
look.
tried to copy something that I found in my references, but it does come across as quite harsh though, because there's the underneath is quite shiny and very metallic, and then that top layer is slightly less metallic and slightly more rough, and
Right.
that's why it just looks so stark difference.
Yeah, just they pop from each other. I mean, I
Hmm.
guess if the colors were if either the albedo or the roughness values were just a little bit closer together,
Yeah,
it could probably stay as worn as it is.
yeah, it's just those maybe a bit harsh in some of these lighting scenarios.
Mm. It's interesting. So the thing I'm noticing with your work is your textures are extremely high res, but
Mm,
then your modeling is right on the edge of too low. Like
really?
yeah, like you can see edges and
Hmm.
catch them
Yeah,
every once
no,
in a while.
yeah,
And
you're right.
it's like if you lowered your textures from like a 4K to a 2K and then
Mm.
put all that memory into the geometry.
Yeah,
Because like
even
in
it out.
yeah, just to balance the fidelity because like the materials are reading really well, and then it's just every once in a while you catch a spot where you're like, oh, that's like you
Yeah,
can see an edge. There was a
yeah.
comment in chat as well about maybe like the thickness of they like me don't know much about cars, but the thickness of
Mm,
surfaces maybe feel a little thin, but that
hmm.
could be accurate, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in terms of like proportions, thicknesses, and it's to scale with the references I had. Um,
Mm.
but I definitely agree on the topology and the amount I'm using. I tried to go for a mid poly with this, so I didn't have to bake. So there's no baking done here. It's just
Oh,
there's no high or low. It's just a mid poly. I think it turned out to be about 100 or 120k tries. But I
right.
definitely could kind of just to have a little bit more topology in places, just to so it doesn't, you don't see any facets or anything like that.
Yeah, vehicles are kind of crazy.
Oh
They
yeah.
bloom in like their poly counts really quickly.
Mm.
I think
Yeah, it was
Was
definitely
like
tricky.
I think Forza's like 1 or 2 million triangles
Yeah.
in their in-game res mesh for
Mm.
their lot zeros.
Yeah, I definitely could have gone a lot higher then. It's just like the amount of research I
Mm,
should have put into like the average amount that you should or should be putting in. I kind of just went as high as I felt like I should.
right. So it's just
Maybe I
maybe
should have gone
about
a little bit higher.
just knowing where to put the geometry then. Because
Yeah, yeah, I
yeah,
definitely
you could
should have
just
done a
turn
little
it
bit
up
more.
in a few spots and then it becomes less and less noticeable.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's
And
dude, yeah. Go ahead.
no, no, those little things annoy me. Like those
Yeah.
little, seeing those little edges and those little facets. It's just like, ah, it's done now. Like the project, the renders are out, but I see them and I'm like, well, I've got to know that for next time. It's definitely, I think with every project I make, I think it's natural to see mistakes afterwards, and want to try and change or maybe apply it to the next project.
Mm,
But I think with every project, when I first release it, I'm like, I love this, and then a few months go by, and I'm like, yeah, I see real issues in certain areas.
yeah. No, it's always a learning balance. Like so Chris Radsby's in chat and he says generally that in card games they've moved away from normal maps and tend to just
Oh
go
yeah,
for straight poly count because the way you calculate reflections is just going to
yeah,
look better with geometry and like
yeah.
forcing the normals to of the geo itself. It's funny too because Chris is he worked on a racing game and then despite me not being a car person, I worked on Forza 5.
Yeah,
So it's like you see so much geometry in these things.
yeah.
So I wouldn't be too shy about it. Dude, I just noticed the back of this vehicle too with the exhaust and like showing the heat
Yeah, yeah,
distortion in
yeah.
the metal.
Thank you.
That's really cool.
And, and the number plate.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Just putting some hints out there
Yeah,
for people.
I just realized the VTEC and yeah, it's no, it's all good. It's really cool looking. Um, I think we've went into like 30 minutes
Oh
already,
yeah, we're,
but
we're
like
probably over time.
do you have any questions or like anything you
Uh, it's probably a tricky question, but I've been thinking about it a lot recently, and I've been obviously debating between the VFX industry, texture art, or going back into games and doing that. And I think that would be a more comfortable route for me, but I think it's something that I want the challenge, a new kind of challenge with
mm,
VFX. Maybe I'm searching for, I'm not sure. So would you have any advice of, obviously you've been in the games industry for quite some time. Um, what would you advise in a way to inform my decision or maybe make my mind up of what I want to do with my career?
um okay, like I mean, how would I phrase this? So the advice that I usually give people when they're like what way should I go? What should I do?
Hmm.
Um how old are you?
22.
22? Cuz like you could pivot into games and be in it for like
Hmm.
6 to 8 years and ship 2 to 3 games possibly.
Yeah.
And then you could pivot into like VFX or film. Or you could do it
Hmm.
the other way around. Like the amount of time that you have like on planet Earth doing this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like any direction isn't really a wrong direction, it's just a direction. And
Yeah.
so like picking a direction and just going with it cuz it sounds like a fun idea or like a good challenge
Hmm.
is probably the one to go with because at some point you'll have entertained that idea, you'll have executed on it and then you'll figure out like, "Oh, I okay, now I want to try something else." And you've still
Hmm.
continued forward, your skill set has still gone up. And yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a wrong answer, which is kind of a no answer, but
No,
I would
I
say
definitely get that.
I would say just go for the one that sounds like the most fun and interesting to you, and
Hmm.
then know that because you picked that answer, it doesn't mean that you can't do the other one.
Yeah, you can't go back and
Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
because you
there's
can
loads of
always go back.
transferable
Yeah,
skills.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think I fear that if I pick games and I get, deeper and deeper into that, but
Hmm.
my knowledge of film or texturing or VFX isn't growing, or maybe I can grow it on the side. I would have to, if I wanted to change, and I'm a senior one day in games, and then I'll switch to film and I'm a junior again, and I know nothing. That restart, it doesn't scare me, but I guess it's like taking a step backwards to go like two forward.
Right. I mean, I don't think you would. I don't think it happens that way because the stuff that you're dialing back on or that you're going to be fresh to is just the workflows. Any of
Mm,
the like art skills and like
yeah, that will still be
fundamental stuff
developed.
that has developed so far
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
that I think
definitely.
you'd be able to move between the two pretty easily as well.
Yeah, as long as there's some kind of grace period of learning, learning a little bit of software here and there, and how to do certain things, then
Mm,
then I think I'd hope I would want to pick it up. And yeah, it's still I've still got a couple months to make my decision before I graduate. Um, but yeah, I've got a lot to think about.
yeah. I mean, if you have any other questions, just poke me. on
Sure thing.
on Discord.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for your time. I
Yeah,
really
man.
appreciate you looking over my stuff.
Yeah, it's cool to go through each one of these and take a little bit of time to dissect them.
I appreciate it.
But cool. I guess I'll talk to you later then.
Yeah, talk to you soon. Thank you very much.
Yeah, see ya.
Cheers.